So we find out in this week's episode of Beautiful Bones that curses actually does exist in the real world, but not as the supernatural things that most people think about. It's actually just getting the target of the curse, like to get more anxious and agitated. So he maybe die of a heart attack or something, and people will then think it's a curse. So we can therefore conclude that the cursed painting isn't cursed, and it's not a curse that kills the people that owns it. It's actually a very simple explanation, or it isn't if you ain't a painter, because what kills them is actually the paint that it's painted with. It is painted with a paint that is called Charlotte Green. And Charlotte Green was used a lot in the 18th century, and it is really toxic because it contains arsenic, who we also uses today, but that's mostly to cars. But the issue with that is that if it is exposed to water, it can actually create a fungi. And if that fungi enters the human body, it can actually lead to very nasty things. First of all, if you get chronological arsenic poisoning, or actually chemical poisoning to be exact, your nails will get some lines which is called moss lines, which indicate that you've been poisoned by what's called chemicals. And this fungi, if it enters your body, it can actually cause your respiratory system or your lungs, in layman's terms, your stomach, and in worst case, give you cancer. So, yeah, it can basically fuck you up. But this doesn't explain why it was only the men that died on Fujikawa's side. But this is being explained by Sakurako. It's actually because of what's it called? Adrenaline hormone that is released when people get stressed, called cortisol. And the reason why it's only the men is that men releases a huger dose of cortisol when they get stressed, so they can easily die of a heart attack. While ladies, according from what I understood, have an easier time dealing with stress, and I can understand that or I believe that, because it must not be easy to look after a kid and make food and stuff. And I'm pretty sure also it's stressful to give birth, but then again, I'm not a woman, so I cannot say that. So, or I cannot confirm that. So, yeah, interesting thing. So we have that, but there's one interesting thing left. Why did what she called Fujikawa look like, oh, a detective, and like look like he's not happy about that? That was actually because he was in a huge step, because 1 year ago he had like invested in some what's it called, papers. Uh, I cannot recall, action market. You know, like he has invested in stuff, and yeah, and because of some crash, he has lost a lot of money, and that it didn't help that his family had left him in a lot of debt. So he tried to basically kill himself and make it look like an accident. So his wife, let me see, Miyuki, and his daughter could live like a good life without them having to struggle to survive because of his debt and the debt he most likely got from his father. So yeah, he was kind of a nice guy, but still trying to kill himself. That wasn't nice, because that hurts his wife in this episode. Even though he doesn't die because of Hector actually warning Sakurako, and Sakurako figures out that it doesn't fit together, basically the puzzle, and they save him from basically bleeding to death. And we see here how Utsumi, or the police officer, he actually shows backbone, because when he hears that his friend is ready to die, he basically, and hear that the illegally parked car they saw in the first episode basically makes it so the ambulance has to take the detour, which adds like 5 minutes more. He takes up his friend and runs to the what's it called, to the ambulance so he can get treated, and he doesn't die, as we understand. However, Hector, he becomes the door. He basically goes to from Fujikawa to Sakurako because shall I say, it doesn't fit, or let's say like this, it will most likely die of boredom if it was stuck in that little apartment that Fujikawa and Miyuki and their daughter now lives in. Because yeah, I really like that the wife is like, she just wanted to live with Fujikawa. She doesn't care if she lives in debt. I can respect her for that because there's some that can't do that. They only can be happy if they have like freedoms with money. Also, a little thing we find out that is that Sakurako actually had a cat in the past. So yeah, and a little thing that I saw in the end, where basically our main character, let me see, Shoutarou, he basically looks like the what's called the little brother of Sakurako. That can be understood two ways. Either, and the line she said that, give me a little more time, it either could understand that she is dying, or that Shotaro only exists like, you know, for a short while. So he actually dies at the end. Because, yeah, that could be understood that he is actually Shotaro as her brother, but in an older form. So, but still, that doesn't make entirely sense. But that's the only explanation I currently have for it. So it's either there's something wrong with Sakurako, like her dying, or she living in a dream world, or she is, or there's something wrong with Jotaro, like he doesn't really exist. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens in the next episode. It's gonna be interesting. But with that said, have a good day, good night wherever you are, and I'll see you later. Cheers, guys.